In this video, we're going to be rationalizing a denominator containing one term. In number 1, it says, assume the square root of 2 is equal to 1.414. And then it says, which is easier to divide without a calculator? 1 divided by the square root of 2 or the square root of 2 divided by 2. So if we have 1 divided by the square root of 2, using the assumption we can say that we can write this as 1 divided by 1.414. And if we have 1 divided by 1.414, the division would be 1.414 divided by 1. And then if we have the square root of 2 over 2, we could write that with the assumption as 1.414 divided by 2. And that division would be 2 divided by 1.414. In order to do this first division, we would have to put the decimal place in with a bunch of zeros, and then we would have to move the decimal place in order to do this division. So this division would be much tougher. And so the square root of 2 over 2 would be much easier to divide without a calculator. In B, it wants us to multiply 1 divided by the square root of 2 by the square root of 2 over the square root of 2. So we have 1 divided by the square root of 2 times the square root of 2 divided by the square root of 2. And that is equal to the square root of 2 divided by the square root of 4. And that is equal to the square root of 2 divided by 2. And it said, what happens to the denominator? And when we do this multiplication, the radical is eliminated. In C, it asks, what would we multiply 1 divided by the square root of 3 by to eliminate the radical from the denominator? And we would multiply by the square root of 3 divided by the square root of 3, so that we eliminate the radical just like we did in the one above. In D, it says, what would you multiply 1 divided by the fifth root of 3 cubed by to eliminate the radical from the denominator? Now, in order to eliminate a radical, we would have to have the same amount of factors of the variable or the number that we want to take out of the radical as the index. So here we have 3 cubed, and we have a fifth root. So we need to have 2 more factors of 3 inside the fifth root. So we're going to multiply by the fifth root of 3 squared divided by the fifth root of 3 squared. And now they tell us the rules for rationalizing the denominator with one term, and we'll look at some examples. So we have, in 2, it asks us to rationalize the denominator and simplify. Assume all variables represent positive real numbers. So the first thing they want us to do in A we have the fifth root of 3 divided by the fifth root of 4, and it wants us to state the factor that will rationalize the denominator. And we could rewrite the fifth root of 4 as the fifth root of 2 squared. And now in order to take a factor of 2 out of this radical, we need to have 5 factors inside the radical. So we're going to need to multiply the denominator by the fifth root of 2 cubed. And now it wants us to rationalize the denominator. So if we have the fifth root of 3 divided by the fifth root of 4 times the fifth root of 2 cubed, which we could write as the fifth root of 8, divided by the fifth root of 2 cubed is equal to the fifth root of 24 divided by, now we said that the fifth root of 4 could be written as the fifth root of 2 squared. So we have the fifth root of 2 to the fifth. And now we can simplify the denominator. And if we have the fifth root of 2 to the fifth, then we have 2 remaining. And then we have the fifth root of 24 in the numerator. In B, we have the fifth root of 81 a squared b to the seventh, all divided by c, and it wants us to state the factor that will rationalize the denominator. And the factor that will rationalize the denominator is the fifth root of c to the fourth. We have one factor of c in the denominator, and we have a fifth root, so we need 4 more factors of c. And now we want to rationalize the denominator. So we're going to have the fifth root of 81 a squared b to the seventh divided by c, and we're going to multiply that by the fifth root of c to the fourth divided by the fifth root of c to the fourth, and that's going to give us the fifth root of c to the fifth in the denominator and 81 a squared b to the seventh c to the fourth. And now we want to take everything out that is a perfect fifth root, and we can see that b to the seventh can be written as b to the fifth times b squared, so we can take one factor of b out of the radical. And in the denominator we have the fifth root of c to the fifth, so we can take a c out of the denominator, times the fifth root of 81 a squared. We still have 2 factors of b inside the radical, and c to the fourth. In c we have the fourth root of 7 divided by 2 squared times x. And it wants us to state the factor that will rationalize the denominator. So we need the fourth root, and now we have 2 factors of 2, so we need 2 more factors of 2. And we have 1 factor of x, and we need 4, so we have x cubed. So we'll have the fourth root of 2 squared x cubed. And now we want to rationalize the denominator. So we have the fourth root of 7 divided by 2 squared x times the fourth root of 2 squared x to the third divided by the fourth root of 2 squared x to the third, which is equal to the fourth root of, now 2 squared is 4, 4 times 7 is 28, and we have x cubed divided by 2 squared times 2 squared is 2 to the fourth, and x to the fourth. So now we can take a 2 out of the denominator and an x out of the denominator. So we have the fourth root of 28 x cubed divided by 2x. In D, we have 3x times the fourth root of 8y to the 11th divided by 2x cubed y cubed. And it wants us to simplify the radicand first. So we have 3x times the fourth root of, now we have 8 divided by 2, so it's going to give us a 4. And y to the 11th divided by y cubed is y to the 8th divided by x cubed. And now it wants us to state the factor that will rationalize the denominator. And we have a fourth root, and we have 3 factors of x, so we need 1 more factor of x in the denominator. So we're going to multiply by the fourth root of x, And now it wants us to rationalize the denominator. So we have 3x times the fourth root of 4y to the eighth divided by x cubed times the fourth root of x divided by the fourth root of x. And this is equal to 3x times the fourth root of 4x y to the eighth divided by x to the fourth. And now we have two factors of y that can come out because 8 divided by 4 is 2. So we have 3x y squared. And we also have an x coming out of the denominator divided by x times the fourth root of 4x. And we can simplify outside of the radical. We have an x divided by x, so we can say that this is equal to 3y squared times the fourth root of 4x. In E, we have the fourth root of 7a cubed y squared divided by 8b to the sixth x to the third, and it wants us to state the factor that will rationalize the denominator. So 8 can be written as 2 cubed. So we need one more factor of 2 to get us to 4. And we have 6 factors of b, so we're going to need 2 more to get us to a perfect nth root. And we need one more factor of x to get us to 4. So we're going to multiply by the fourth root of 2b squared x. And now it wants us to rationalize the denominator. So we have the fourth root of 7a cubed y squared divided by 8b to the sixth x cubed times the fourth root of 2b squared x divided by the fourth root of 2b squared x. And this is equal to the fourth root of 7 times 2 is 14, a cubed, b squared, x, and y squared, all divided by, now I'm going to write 8 as 2 cubed times 2, which is 2 to the fourth. And then we have b to the sixth times b squared is b to the eighth. And we have x cubed times x, which is x to the fourth. And now we can take everything out of the denominator because they're all perfect fourth roots. And we're going to have 1 over, we can take a 2 out, we can take 2 factors of b out, and 1 x out, and then we're left with the fourth root of 14 a cubed b squared x y squared. And that's our video on rationalizing a denominator containing one term.